Hello everybody, thank you for chiming in with another episode of hilarious content. Today we are playing some Orzhov Cleric Tribal. Orzhov is referring to the color combination white-black. Cleric is referring to the creature tribe. They are all clerics. If you don't want to hear the deck tech and want to jump straight into the gameplay, please look in the description below. I have bookmarks to the gameplay and to the outro for my opinion and wrap-up of the deck. For those of you who want to hear the deck tech and want to know more about each card, go ahead and stick around and I will dive in shortly. Thank you so much. So, as you can see here, this is a Lurrus deck. Lurrus is our companion and the only creature in here that's not a cleric. So, Lauren, not Lauren, Lurrus. Lurrus is a Dream Den's companion rule is that each permanent card in your starting deck has a converted mana cost of 2 or less. And if you look closely, that's why all of our creatures here are all 2 mana spells or 1 mana spells. Because that's required to have Lurrus as your companion. And the reason why we like to play him is because during each of our turns, we could cast 1 permanent spell with converted mana cost 2 or less from our graveyard. This definitely helps a lot because it does exactly what the deck needs to do with the graveyard recursion. Now let's go and look at some of our 1-drops here. Our first runner-up for our 1-drop is Soulmender. Soulmender is an arena standard legal card, meaning it's only legal in standard best of 1. If you want to play best of 3, Soulmender is not playable, unfortunately. But it is playable in best of 1, which is what we're playing today in the play queue. So it is in the deck. It is a 1 white mana for 1/1 with the ability to tap it and you gain 1 life. This card goes bonkers. It has a lot of synergy with some of our other cards that I will show you soon. Next is we have Speaker of the Heavens. If you look at this card, it's a 1-drop as well with a lot of text. Alright, so it has Vigilance, it has Lifelink, it's a 1/1. And you can create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying by tapping Speaker of the Heavens. You can only activate this ability if you have at least 7 life more than your starting total. So in standard, you have 20 life, you need plus 7, so that would be 27 life in order to activate this ability. I honestly thought that this card, the second ability, would be the cherry on top, but it is surprisingly common to see in games where you could just activate the Speaker of the Heavens. Let's go on to our next 1-drop, Archfiend's Vessel, another 1-drop spell with a lot of text. So this creature has lifelink, and when Archfiend's Vessel enters the battlefield, if it entered from your graveyard or you cast it from your graveyard, exile it. If you do, create a 5/5 black demon creature token with flying. This token will be a lot easier than Speaker of the Heavens token to get. The only problem is it's a little bit easier for our opponents to get rid of because it's only 1 token and tokens have a 0 converted mana cost. They have a 0 converted mana cost amount, meaning really cheap removal spells like Blood Chief's Thirst and Glass Casket can just take care of it very easily without having to worry about it. Honestly, even any bounce effect can take care of it because of the token. But the fact that it comes back with such a strong body during its recursion is a really good synergy that we like to partake in this deck, especially when we're going up against Mill. Right now, Mill is like literally the one of the top played decks. So if they end up milling one of our Archfiend's Vessel and we are able to bring it back, a lot of the times if they don't have an answer to the Archfiend's Vessel's demon, then they get punished. So that it's doing things like that that make it pretty fun. Next we have Blood Chief's Thirst. I was actually just talking about this spell. For those of you who remember, I was playing this card in my Yorion Mardu Giant control deck. It's a very efficient removal spell early game. It will destroy a target creature or planeswalker with converted mana cost 2 or less. Late game, if you want to use it, you could kick it with an extra black mana and 2 colorless to destroy any target creature or planeswalker. It's sorcery speed, and obviously it can't destroy anything that has indestructible or target anything that has hexproof, but for the amount of mana it is and its efficiency, it's just good enough for me for early game and late game interaction most of the time. Afterwards, we do have Village Rites. This is a good way to protect our creatures, believe it or not. So what Village Rites does is, as an additional cost to cast a spell, you need to sacrifice a creature. So if you want to play this card, you have to sacrifice one of your creatures, meaning it dies. Then you will be able to draw 2 cards. So the card advantage is one of the more important things in Magic the Gathering. Oftentimes people who lose will lose because they don't have enough cards or their opponent just has some pretty intense card advantage. Village Rites protects our creatures because there are a lot of exile effects right now in Magic the Gathering, and if our cards get exiled, we can't recur them with our synergies, so we can't recur them with some of the cards we have, like Agadeem's Awakening, Call of the Death Dweller, or Luris. So instead of letting the card get exiled, we respond by sacrificing our card so it goes to the graveyard instead, and then we even get to draw 2 cards. Next we have Hallowed Priest, very similar to Soul Mender. This is an arena, a legal card, meaning that it's only legal in best of 1, but this card goes bonkers as well. So whenever you gain a life, put a 1/1 counter on Hallowed Priest. This synergizes really well with Soul Mender, Speaker of Heavens, and Archfiend's Vessel, because Soul Mender taps, lets you gain 1 life. Speaker of Heavens and Archfiend's Vessel have lifelink, meaning whenever they attack or block and deal damage, you will gain life, which will trigger Hallowed Priest's ability to gain a 1/1 counter. So late game, early game, mid game, doesn't matter. This card will get pretty intense pretty fast. Next cleric we have is Luminarch Aspirant. This card pumps up your creatures at the beginning of combat on your turn. So I like to put a 1/1 counter on a creature, which will increase its toughness and its power. This card is really good for distributing the wealth and making sure that our creatures it helps boost a lot of our creatures. Skyclave Cleric. I will typically play this card as a land. We don't run too many lands. I think we only run 18 minus the modals. So that's why we have a playset of Skyclave Cleric. But as you can see, late game, if we have enough land and we need another Cleric, it will trigger the Cleric ability, and it will when it enters the battlefield, we'll gain 2 life. That'll help our Speaker of the Heavens get there. That'll help our Hallowed Priest get there, and it'll help our next card, Cleric of Life's Bond, to also trigger its ability. So whenever another Cleric enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. Whenever you gain life for the first time each turn, put a 1/1 counter on Cleric of Life's Bond. This card, it's debatable which card is better between this or Hallowed Priest. Hallowed Priest does get a lot bigger, a lot faster than Cleric of Life's Bond. Cleric of Life's Bond, but Cleric of Life's Bond does allow you to gain 1 life whenever any Cleric enters the battlefield, which is all of our creatures minus Luris. And if you have a Soul Mender up and that doesn't have Summoning Sickness, you could tap Soul Mender on your opponent's turn, and if you notice, it says whenever you gain life for the first time each turn, meaning it'll trigger on your opponent's turn as well. So there's a lot of synergies there. If you block with a Speaker of the Heavens or Archfiend's Vessel, they have lifelink. They will also trigger a Cleric of Life's Bond as well if they deal combat damage. Next, we have Dire Tactics. This is a really cool card. Exile target creature. If you don't control a human, you lose life equal to that creature's toughness. We play 18 creatures in this deck. I'm sorry, we play 18 humans in this deck. So the fact that the situation in which we won't have a human up is very rare. This is just most of the time a 1 white, 1 black exile target creature. The rest of the effect typically isn't even there. I like to look at cards in the worst case scenario, but honestly, I have never played this card and have lost life with this deck. I just never. It's just never happened. We just have so many human creatures that I've never lost life. So it's just a really efficient removal spell. There will be creatures that we need to exile, like a Hollowed Seasoned Blade, and a Hollow Blade. I forget the name of the warrior, but any creature with indestructible, we will need to exile, or any creature with escape that proves to be a serious threat and keeps coming back from the graveyard, we will need to exile. So this card takes care of that pretty efficiently. Is it 3 of? So is Bloodchief's Thirst. I think 3 feels to be a good number. Alright, so coming in with our higher mana cost spells, we have Call of the Death Dweller. This will return up to 2 target creature cards with total converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard. It'll let you put a Death Touch counter on either of them or a Menace counter on either of them. Basically, you just add the converted mana cost, and if it If it's 3 or less, then you can bring it back. So you can bring back 1 Hollow Priest and 1 Salamander, or you can bring back 1 Luminac Aspirant and any of the 1-drops, or 2 1-drops, or just 1 2-drop, or maybe just 1 Luris, you know, because Luris is a 3-drop. If you do that, then you can just do 1 Luris if need be. It's a pretty good card. It's one of our main ways here to bring creatures back. Next, we have Agadeem's Awakening for our high end. Oftentimes, we'll be playing this as a land. Other times, we'll be top decking it and tapping it for 6. So use its effect at its highest ability, hopefully. So basically, what it does is it's like Call of the Death Dweller, just a lot more expensive, and it only. So it's not limiting. So if you tap 6, you can bring back 3 creatures, right? So it's return from your graveyard to the battlefield any number of target creature cards that each have a different converted mana cost of X or less. So you can bring back 3 creatures if you tap 3 of anything. And you can bring back 1 Luris if Luris is in your graveyard, 1 of any of these 2-drops, and 1 of any of these 1-drops. If they're in your graveyard, of course. Or if Luris isn't in your graveyard, you tap 5, bring back 1 of these and 1 of these. Works out pretty well. I have yet to play this card in an actual game. I'm actually considering switching it off for Malakir's Rebirth. If you don't want to spend the Mythic wild cards on it, then you can use Malakir's Rebirth in its place. Like I said, I've been thinking about switching it out for Malakir's Rebirth, but I'm going to keep it in for now. Next, we have the mana base. I have a playset of Scored Barrens, 3 pathways in the Orzhov color, 6 swamps, 5 plains, very simple mana base. The only reason why I don't have a playset of Bright Climbs pathways is because I don't have another wild card to make it. Well, I guess I do have another wild card, but I don't want to craft land. Feels bad. If you only have Scored Barrens, you don't have the pathways, that's totally fine. You don't have to craft the temples, you don't have to craft the triomes, you don't have to craft any of that. You could just play the Scored Barrens, and if you really wanted fixing, you could use Evolving Wilds, and the rest have basic land. That's totally okay. The pathways though are the best land for this deck. I would say that the pathways and the Scored Barrens are a really good combo. I don't recommend using the Temple of Silences. If you do have them, then you could use them if you want. I think Scored Barrens are just a little bit better because of the life gain, but most importantly because I don't think you should be using your rares on the temples. There are better things to use your rares for, like the pathway. I would rather you craft the pathway than the temple. Yeah, so that is the deck. This was a really long introduction. I know they're always pretty long. Trying to get better at shortening them. Let's go ahead and jump into gameplay and see how we do. Hello everybody, we are playing Orzhov Cleric. Let's see what we got here. I think this is an acceptable hand. I'm going to go ahead and keep and say hello. Just for the good sportsmanship. So let's go ahead and start off with the plains, drop my Speaker of the Heaven, and say go. Let's see what opponent Dean Davis has in store for us today. They look like a mono-red deck. I'm not sure how this deck fares against mono-red, but happy to find out. Okay, so we got a pathway here. Let's go ahead and drop a Cleric of Life's Boss. Going for 1. Alrighty. We got a nice little pump and some life gain. I think I'm going to drop this on a black, most likely. Oh, actually that changes things. I will drop it in as white. Let's go ahead and play our swamp first, and going like that. And I'm going to go ahead and or should I buy Luris? No, I'm going to enter. In case they try to remove any weird things, we could go ahead and Village Rites to draw some cards. You know, a Scored Barrens actually would be a pretty good draw. Or another Cleric, obviously. This is Orzhov Tribal, so we will see what happens. I think they're going to hit us with Sweeper. That's totally fine, actually. Nice. I'm going to give them a nice. That is totally fine.
Hey, that's pretty good.
I'm going to go ahead and go my turn. Play a White Source. Tap, tap, tap. Call the Death Dweller. Let's go ahead and bring back a Luminic Aspirant. And we'll be aggressive and bring back an Archer Assassin. With that fetch counter and a menace counter. This will trigger just once. This will trigger turning into a demon, so this is our combination. And let's go ahead and start combat. Hitting Speaker of the Heavens, going in for 7. Sago. Pretty aggressive start. I'm not sure how they could get out of this. It looks like they're playing some kind of 4-color deck. Or perhaps they're playing red-white. Jeskai. Well, they have to be playing Jeskai because the Matter and Cacophony. I'm not sure what the black is for. So it might be just more red-white for the Jeskai build. Either way, we do have a Village Rites. We do have a way out. So we will see what happens. Alright, opponent is not conceding, so I think they might have an answer. But they are going to rope us. This might mean a concession. They might be roping us to see if we concede in the meantime. I think that we are in a pretty good spot. Especially them milling us is probably the best thing. Resolve. What are they gonna get? So let's go to respond with a Village Rites, sacking you. Sorry, cards. I think that's game right there. Yeah, I honestly think that's game. Let's go ahead and... Okay, he dropped a good game. I'm gonna drop the good game as well. Let's just overextend. Yep. Alrighty, good game. Let's go ahead and go off to the next one. Hello everybody, looks like we are playing some Orzhov Clerics on the draw. I think I'm gonna go ahead and keep this hand. So yeah, let's go to keep 7. Hello. Alrighty, I will go ahead and play this in tapped. Alright, looks like we're going to get to mill. You would have been awesome last turn, by the way. But looks like it's okay. Let's go and drop a Cleric Lifeline. There you go. Oh my goodness. We might be in some trouble. Alright, let's see what we want to do here. This one's going to be a little bit hard. They can't attack yet. Hopefully, I'm hoping that they start milling our graveyard. Maybe we could do things if they do. It's a very aggressive start for them. No attacks and turn. Maybe the way out of this is we keep buffing these guys until they get too much to handle. It doesn't look like they're running black in this deck, so that's not too bad. We could go for the Hollow Priest and the Soulmender. It looks like they might want to counter our spell. Let's go ahead and drop the Hollow Priest. I think they have a yeah, they did the same things. Let's see what they drop. The Village Rites kind of hurts. So does the land, but that's totally okay. Let's go ahead and play this bad boy, and he will help us get to where we need to go. So for the gargoyles, it's 2 different numbers. They need 7. We need 7 cards in our graveyard for them to attack. They need 4 cards in their hand to block, so they're almost at that limit. So for now, we're gonna do. We can actually, Alright, no attacks for now. Let's not be too greedy because in about 2 turns we could Alright, so they're almost there as well. Okay. Okay, very cool. So they're going to be drawing a lot of cards. Now, it might be bad news for us. They did tap out. Let's see, do I have anything good in the graveyard I want? Not particularly. Besides the land would actually be great right now. So how about we drop a... We could go like this. They can't block, so we're gonna go ahead and go in. And I don't want to be too greedy. If I drop this, then I can't village, right? So I'm not going to be too greedy. I'm just going to go ahead and go in, attack for 10. They cannot block. They do not have enough cards in hand to block. Alright, and let's go ahead and turn. During their end step. Oh, he said nice. I'm giving him thanks. So they have enough cards to attack now. I'm not too really worried. I mean, I'm not really too worried about them attacking. Eventually, they will mill into a one of our clerics that will come back with some good recursion. Alright, so these guys can block though, so good for them. Oh, and he sacrifices himself. He needs answers. Makes sense. They might play it to Teferi. So he can't actually play anything. Oh, and he did. Well, he has to draw and discard, so he can't. I think that might be a good game. I think he I think opponent just. Okay, so he still has. Okay, right, so he draws 2 cards instead. All right, very cool. Anything fancy? Activate ability. Resolve. We got a few triggers. Let's go and resolve all. My turn. Ooh, that's a good one. Score burns. We have quite a few triggers here. And if we go in with these 3, we might be able to have some fun. So let's try to have some fun. They can't cast it. If they cast anything before blocks, then they lose. Very interesting. We get to kill both of them. But they do get to mill both of us. So let's go in for 5. Yep. That's a mill. Anything good? Yep. That is also a mill. Nothing good at the moment. I want to get this off of Summoning Sickness. And let's just see what we can do. Resolve. I don't think he can mill us in time. He is gonna try for it though. Can he mill us 32? That's pretty scary to think about. 32 in 1 turn is no small feat. I'd be very surprised. Alright, so he has a Rune Crab. Very interesting. Eventually they're gonna mill something. They shouldn't though. Or they're not gonna mill anything at all that is of value. Jeez Louise. This spell costs 1 less for each. Alright, good game. He's good gaming us. Yeah, I don't think they're able to do anything. Activate ability. Just get in for there. And opponent scoops it up. Alright, not a bad game. Let's go on to the next one. Alright everybody, we are playing some black-white clerics today. I am going to go ahead and keep this... I'm actually going to mull. I'm going to go ahead and keep this hand. This is a much better hand than my previous one. Might be a little greedy, but we'll see. Say hello. Oh, please be a mill deck. Oh, please be a mill deck. Come on. Play that crab. Play that crab. Hello. Yes! Yes, he's a mill deck. Hopefully he doesn't mill all our answers, but whatever, like that. It's a good. Oh, so no crab. Okay, they do have a blocker. Wow, so they're really going in for the mill. Okay, man, I really should be playing this as a land this turn, but I'm not. No attacks, end turn. I'm gonna. I'd rather tap it for some life gain. Ooh, okay, so they are gonna be aggressively milling us. So we really got to draw some of our graveyard recursion. Yeah, they're gonna be milling us for quite a lot. I could play another one. Make this 4/4. Save the Blood Chief's Thirst for a bigger threat. Yeah, I like the sound of that. Next. Right, that's what they're there for. I'm not really trying to go in for too much damage at the moment. Ooh. Let's see what we got. They're gonna play. So they don't have a crab yet. That's just about all we have going for us. We do have dire tactics. We do have Blood Chief's Thirst. We have some plays. I think I'm gonna thirst this. Okay, so that's a land. That's actually pretty good. I'm gonna go and do like this. Tap 3. I probably should have went in like this first. I was going to try to keep the counter up for my Luris. And let's go ahead and distribute some more of the wealth. We don't necessarily need a million size Salamander. Jeez Louise. Although it's pretty good. Tap target creatures, control those 2 cards. Okay. Oh man, that would be such a good draw. Alright, so he's aggressive. He is very aggressive right now. Man, he's just going at it. Alright, goes in with the ops. 1 bottom. That's good. That means we have the answers he's looking for. Oh no, I don't think we can win if they keep milling these. That's 1, 2. Let's do them. Alrighty. Let's go for the attacks first. Let's see what we have in here. Let's see, what do we have in here? So it's gonna take 3. Alright, so let's try to resolve a call. And let's bring in a Cleric of Life Bond, and let's bring in a Speaker of the Heavens. He might be dead on board, so we'll see how it goes. I'm really hoping that they were to mill. Yes, okay, they milled a demon, an Archfiend's Vessel.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Do they have enough in their hand to be able to stop us. Or interesting. Play that. So that. You know what? Let's just play the rest. They counter this. We respond with dire tactics. Okay, so they don't counter it. I wasn't expecting to get this far. So they're gonna do something. Tap target creature, its controller mills a card, draw a card. Okay, so sure, let's go and resolve that. I could go in for 8. I don't think that's the play because he's gonna block. So how about this? Let's play a speaker. No. I resolve. Okay, let's play an Archfiend's Vessel. I think that might be the right choice. Alright, so now we have a 5/5. We are presenting lethal. And we still have 13 cards in deck. We have Lurrus in the field. Even if Lurrus is tapped, we can still use him. How does the opponent get out of this? Does mono blue have any ability to get out of this? Okay, another Defense Tutelage. Ooh, that might be good enough. I'm actually kind of scared. That might be good enough. Oh man, thank goodness he doesn't have another Into the Story. Or at least the mana for an Into the Story. Oh, yikes. I have 2 more mana left, potentially 3. Make it count, big boy. So I mill 4. I don't think he has it. Even with another opt, I don't believe he has it. Although it was very close. If I were to have used this village rights, I would have lost. If he were to pull another op after this. He topped it. Let's see what it is. Is it land? Yep. Oh, frantic inventory, but I don't think I saw any. Good game. And that's how we beat Mill. Hello everybody, thank you for chiming in with another episode of hilarious content. We are in the post-game, post-wrap, cleanup, wrap-up, toss-up, whatever you want to call it, review of the deck. This is the Orzhov Cleric build I played throughout the game, and I know that each game I played against was against Mill. I played probably a total of 12 games. I recorded, I want to say 10 of them, and the other games, the audio recording actually ended up getting messed up really bad, so I had to redo this entire video actually from start to finish. I had to redo like 2 or 3 times, so it was a little annoying. And I actually got really lucky because the 3 games that were showed in this video were actually the last 3 games I played, and thankfully the audio didn't get messed up for any of them, and it just worked out. So I did play against Gruul. I played against Yorion, Esper Doom Control. I played against Azorius Enchantment Control. Different meta decks, Teamer Adventure. For the most part, this deck, it's a very fair build. It's a very fast-paced, aggressive deck. I want to say, let's see, out of the 12 games, I want to say I won 7, lost 5. So that's almost a 50-50 win to loss ratio. I did beat every mill deck I played, as as seen in this build. But some of the challenging builds to go against were anything with Graveyard Hate. So if you're playing against someone with Elspeth's Nightmare, that's pretty hard to get rid of. If you're playing best of 3, you could definitely add in some Enchantment Hate. I think that's probably necessary for being able to play this deck. As far as the rest goes, I would highly recommend crafting this deck. There are not that many rares, you know, in this deck. Let's see, we have a playset of Speaker of the Heavens, we have a playset of Luminarch Aspirant, and if you have them, a playset of the Pathways, but honestly, you don't even need to play the Pathways for this deck to work. Then we have a Lurrus of the Dream Den, which, if you have the playset of the Pathways, that'd be about 13. Yeah, that'd be about 13 rares. But like I said, you don't need the Pathways. Scored Baron is just fine. If you have Temple of Silences already, and you don't want to craft them, that's totally cool. You can use the Temple of Silence as well. I wouldn't recommend crafting them though. Even in Evolving Wilds, I think would work fine in this deck. It's the mana base is really easy. It's really easy. If you don't have any Mythic wild cards, you don't even need to play Agadeem's Awakening. In fact, I think actually, the way I saw Agadeem's Awakening was maybe it's a late game top deck that'll help me win after a really long grindy game. But if you wanted to be a little bit more fast-paced, then a card like Malakir's Awakening, or sorry, Malakir's Rebirth would be just fine. It's a model land as well, and it's an uncommon. Works out just as fine as Agadeem's Awakening. Agadeem's Awakening is definitely the top deck end game payoff, but if you wanted like the aggressive build, Malakir's Rebirth, 2 of, perfect. You don't need to waste your mythics on the Agadeem's Awakening. And if it makes you feel better, if you do end up crafting the Lurrus, the Speaker of the Heavens, and the Luminarch Aspirant. Speaker of the Heavens and Luminarch Aspirant are played in other decks, and then Lurrus of the Dream Den is also played in quite a few other decks as well. Speaker of the Heavens and Luminarch, they're both played in mono white, Silencia counters, etc., etc. Mono white, at least right now, is one of the top decks for standard, so it's definitely worth it. You can use it in other builds. Lurrus of the Dream Den is played in a vast variety of aggro builds. It's good as a one-of for a companion. Basically any deck that plays white or black in it, so it could be Rakdos, could be Boros, could be Silencia even if you wanted to, could be Golgori, the list goes on and on. You could use it for your deck. And I would highly recommend crafting those cards. As for the rest, I think the 3 Blood Chief Stirs felt good, the 3 Dire Tactics felt pretty well. I wouldn't change anything about this deck, except for maybe the Awakenings. I would change to the Malakir's Rebirths for an aggressive action. Obviously, if I had the 4th Pathway, I'd probably take out Plains, put in the 4th Pathway, or maybe a Swamp, make everything even, 4-4-5-5. I like the way that sounds. But other than that, I really did enjoy playing this deck. Thank you for chiming in with another episode of hilarious content. Sorry this episode wasn't as funny. We got more gaming content coming to you soon. We're hoping to start expanding with Minecraft, possibly Overwatch, and Among Us. But as for now, we're sticking to Magic the Gathering because I enjoy playing Magic the Gathering, and I enjoy making new decks. So, once again, thank you all for watching, and cue the outro music right... Well, actually, sorry, the outro music's playing. I always do this. Cue the bass drop right now.